I'm gonna play their intro and pull them in, guys. The guys from No Time to Binge are back, but this is a different show.
Well, one of them looks different because he doesn't have his glasses on, so I'm pretty sure it's a different guy.
We get to see his sexy eyes.
Yeah, we do.
But I'm gonna say this: No Time to Binge. If you thought that was great, PowerPoint Showdown is so much fun. We both had a chance to be on the show before. I think we did all right.
I mean, I think I did fantastically. You were okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
I don't know.
We weren't even on the same time. And look at the treatment.
Well, I did one where I was playing like this German guy, and I don't know. I may have gone a little farther.
I was just Mick Manhattan.
Fair enough. Well,
I don't play German guys.
Hey, buddy, it's never just.
It's never just.
And actually, instead of German, I'm going to go with Dutch.
Oh, wait, no.
It feels safer.
That one, I was Mick Bronx.
Oh,
I went to one borough for that one episode. All right, guys. So, yes, let me get situated here. So it is, the name of the show is PowerPoint Showdown. We're coming back to it. Check out this.
Yes, and I did get it fixed so that it was spherical again. Mm-hmm. Like a normal penis is spherical.
Ladies, gentlemen, them, they, and all, it's showtime! Ha-ha! Although when we do say showtime, we do use that term very loosely, as what we've got in store for you today, well, our presenters have really no idea what they're gonna say because they're all unprepared. So strap yourselves in and brace yourself as the Some Nobodies present PowerPoint Showdown. So start that round of applause as we welcome this week's keynote speaker.
Hey, I'm a keynote speaker. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for another intellectual conference. Now, tonight you're going to hear three professionals discuss our topic behind the podcast. What we decide to do normally is we go over some topic that people need more information on, whether it be wind, alternative dieting, underused social media, the wrong kind of sneakers. And there's a lot of things that we go over, but what we didn't do is really go into who we are and why we are such professionals and knowledge athletes at this. So we decided to do a new bit called Behind the Podcast. And what that is we're going to go into a presentation of who we are as presenters. Now, with me, as always, we have Dylan Terry. How are you, sir?
I'm doing all right.
Smart Dylan. Good to see you.
Yeah.
And obviously, we have Smart Michael Colby. How are you, sir?
Doing great.
Hell yeah. He is
Vaguely
wide awake.
threatening.
That's good. Now, I'm going to be your keynote speaker. My name is Zach, and I'll be leading this conference. Now, for those joining us for the first time, each speaker is given about 8 to 10 minutes to present the topic of the week. And after each presentation, there'll be a short Q&A from the panel. And obviously, anybody watching at home, we will answer literally every single question everyone has.
Time
now,
limited.
no.
Okay.
No. And after the last presentation, the panelists will vote on which speaker will be given the awarded $50,000 scholarship to Some Nobodies University from Some Nobodies Patreon and the nostalgia prize of the week, which is right here. Let me just get this open real fast. I don't want to open it because I don't want to see this. Whoa. Okay. Apparently we're going for coins of the Bible today, and we have the widow's mite. And it actually has a certification of Bible. So this is from the real Bible, just so you know. So now the winner wins $50,000 scholarship and a coin of the Bible.
I'm glad I never win this.
Just one?
Yeah. Well, it also comes with like a book, so you can display it. But it's a pretty. I'll read you a story later on. Anyway, we don't have a lot of time. Now, listen. Before we get any further, we have some ados. We're not going to get to them, not right now. I'm going to start off with the podcast or with the presentation that I have made for this one, and I'm not sure. See, this is the first time we're doing this for a charity.
Can we have the producers bring the presentation on, please?
Yes,
it's going very well so far.
There we go.
Okay, is this mine? Yes,
Yes.
I made this. Excellent. Okay, now one of the things that we wanted to do was we wanted to make sure that the audience here at the Scene Snobs, who are definitely donating enough money to see Mick Manhattan's back, we wanted to give you a little insight of who we are as creators. I've chosen to tell you guys about Michael Colby. Now, everything to know and what not to as well. Trust me, there's a lot more things that you do not want to what not to know. But there are some things that you're going to everything to know. And we're going to get into those everythings right now. Some of those things might be recipes, guitar tabs, death notes, and friends. That's going to be a very long list because Michael Colby has social medias. Anyway, let's get on to the next slide, pretty please. All right, now who is Michael Colby? Number one, podcaster, right? No one knows what he really does for a job. The only thing he ever tells anybody he does is that he's funnier than most people, and he has a podcast. What this really is a incessant ramblings of a bunch of old men who think they see ghosts. But anyway, he calls him a podcast, so we're going to get on with that. He also likes music, I think. He is a podcaster who has a podcast on music. It's actually a pretty decent podcast. It's called Generation Clash, where he complains about music a lot, whether it's his music he complains about or somebody else's music they complain about. He says he likes music, I think. Now, he's somewhere between a rough 35 and a young 50. Now, I would think it's more towards the rough 35, but obviously 50 looks right. So we're just going to settle in the middle and say he's a rough 50. But either way, he is a podcaster. And those are things that you need to know. So next slide, please. Now, there's a history of Michael Colby's podcasting career, and I'm going to start all the way in the beginning, which is -5 BJB. I'm not allowed to tell you what that stands for because I was warned of my cussing earlier, but let's just say that it's before Jack Billings. That seems like the easiest thing that we can get around without me getting in trouble again. Now, -5 before Jack Billings, Michael discovers a microphone. And what that does, it leads down the eventual doom of the planet. He looked at a microphone for quite a while. He yelled into it. Then once he plugged it in, he realized that he could record those yellings. Now, 0 AJB, which I guess we're just going to stick with this and say this is after Jack Billings. The first episode of Jack Billings Presents was released. And honestly, it has 5-star reviews on Apple. And I can't say that about all my podcasts. Now, let's hop ahead 15 AJBs later, which is right about now. Now, Jack Billings is elected to president. Now, what you don't know is Jack Billings is not from this country. So he's not president of the United States. He's president of his own country. And I'm not going to get into that because this is also not a political thing. Now, we're going to hop ahead 10 more years into roughly the future of 25 AJB, where Earth depopulated, universe collapses. What happened was everyone was spending so much time listening to all the podcasts that Michael Colby put together, they stopped having sex. They realized nothing was attractive anymore, and there was no need for it. They thought while it was happening, it was okay, but what was the point of really initiating it? For that reason, no more sex, population went down. Next slide, please. Now, here's a bunch of things that I wanted to tell you guys that are facts about Michael Colby. I've done my research. I've checked his Imgur page, and these are facts. Number one, Michael Colby went on vacation once, and it was an overnight camping trip to Costco, and it was unintentional. He thought it was a BJ's, and he only really parked around back because that's where the security guards don't bust you for sleeping in your trunk. But it turns out it was a Costco. He was very surprised, but really shocked at the value. Number two, it's not actually a beard. It's a prop. It is whatever the merkin is, but that goes on like the lower back. It's like a tramp stamp of long hair, like a rat tail that covers your butt crack. He didn't know what it was, put it on there. And now what I found out was that there's an antenna on his chin, and it's both for mating and threat display. He can swell it up to enormous sizes and also change colors depending on his mood. I've only seen yellow, but I think that means horny. Number three, the best artist of all time. Michael says it's Meatloaf, but he actually thinks it's Kid Rock. He's going to tell you Meatloaf to your face, but guess what? That's Kid Rock. Number four, Michael's a really hard worker. He doesn't sleep, not because he doesn't need to, but because of his guilt. When he's asleep, he actually feels like he should be doing something because he doesn't really do much. Even his job, I don't think he does much, which I can't verify what he does. The people outside of Costco said he didn't do a whole lot, but he definitely felt guilty. And number 5, Michael can't solve a Rubik's Cube. He just gives up and calls it a work in progress, which is nothing wrong with that because honestly, as a current work in progress himself, there's nothing wrong with fondling one of those every once in a while. Next slide, please. Now, here are 5 extra Michael Colby facts. 1, he's exactly 2% alopecic. He cannot grow hair on the very top of his head. Number 2, he calls headphones ear goggles for some reason. Number 3, he has no idea who Spider-Man is, which is why I wore this shirt. Number 4, he has started and failed 3 exact religions, 2 of which I think are the same, but he said they were different. Number 5, he will not stop talking about Dianetics by L. Ron Hubbard. That is his favorite book, and that is fact number 5. So next slide, please. Now, the one thing I can tell you is that he is very similar to some kind of skink, and you do not want to approach. When threatened or surprised, Michael his throat pouch inflates, and he asks his prey to be on his podcast as a sexy ghost or something weird. Dylan and I actually encountered Michael in person one time. He was aggressively threatened, and we ended up on 4 of his podcasts. So just watch out, because once you get knocked down by that throat, what do they call it? Pouches? Sure. Once you get knocked down by that, you realize, hey, this guy's actually pretty funny. Next slide, please. It's Sexy Thatcher. I just saw that up top. Okay, this is mine, I guess. All right, now listen, here's some of Michael's buddies. Number 1, Glennifer Bruhaha, barista. She's 25. She's a sanitation engineer. She studies bird calls, and she also likes the idea of taxidermy. Not actual taxidermy, just the idea of it. She thinks more things should be dead and stuffed and not blood. She just doesn't like blood that much. Also, one of Michael's friends is Salvador O'Brassery. Now, he's a self-proclaimed 121-year-old immortal man from Bedlam. That's where they first met, was in Bedlam. Is it a place? Is that a state of mind? Now, he also likes 90s hip-hop, although that's not his current style of music. He's into trash funk, which is really just complaining melodically to whatever garbage he can find. Now, his number 1 favorite person in the world is Kid Rock. Now, this mofo is 51 years old. He studies music. Now, there is nothing that you can tell him about music. That's why him and Michael get along very well. They first met in Detroit. The thing he likes the most, his old music. Obviously, that makes sense. Now, if we can click this tab up here at the top that says Mick Manhattan, or get me to the next slide, please. Now, in conclusion, Michael, if anything, is an artist. He's tried many things. He's tried naked cowboying. He's tried naked drawing. He's tried naked podcasting. But all that I can really say about Michael is that when you're done with him, you're going to have a smile on your face. You might be a little blue. You might be a little flat. You might be somewhat two-dimensional as far as emotionally goes. But God damn it, there's going to be a smile on your face. And because I'm pretty much out of time, I'm going to take any questions anyone has right now on Michael Colby. If not, we'll just get on with the next presentation. Are we doing questions on Michael Colby? Okay.
Oh, okay.
I don't have a question. I just wanted to let you know about 50% of that was surprisingly accurate.
I've been going through your trash for quite a while, so I've put some things together.
Good job.
All right. Well, up next is going to be actual Michael Colby. So if we can go ahead and get his presentation up from our producers backstage.
All right. I did my presentation today on Dylan Augustus Terry, the boy prince that grew up too soon. It's actually a tragic tale. We'll get into it. I just wanted to get you prepared. You are going to cry during this presentation. The boy prince, it's always a tragic tale. And this one is no different. And where it is different, it's even sadder than your normal boy prince tale. So if we can get this started and prepare to cry. I have Dylan's lifeline here. It's like a timeline thing. Like somebody's life is an amount of time. So Dylan's lifeline is sort of a timeline thing. In 1993, Dylan was born. It was the first and only time he's ever seen or touched a vagina, and it was that of his mother's. I don't know what else to say about that. It's very sad. Boy princes usually are born, and then by the time they die, they've never seen another vagina. It's terrible.
It's true.
Okay, 1997, the year that I graduated high school. Dylan's 4 years old, and he sees The Lost World in the theater. His theater experience is fueled by dinosaurs. The pun here is that fuel, oil, gasoline is made from oil, which is old dinosaurs smushed and turned into goo. So that was the joke there. In 2002, Dylan graduates. After 3 tries, he gets a principal's pardon and is allowed to graduate high school. He was originally supposed to graduate at 6 years old. Instead, he's 9. He goes to college. He gets his doctorate. He's a 13-year-old doctor. I don't know why I didn't put that on the slide. I figured the more important thing was that in 2020, Dylan gets his first computer. It's a 1996 Gateway computer that has a Word doc. It's where he starts writing. He writes his first novel. Since then, he's written 17 novels. None of them are good, but there is a lot of them. Next slide, please. Whoa. Don't think that's all he's done, though. Hang on. We're going to explain the other stuff that he's done. If you're not crying already because of the fact that he is a virgin and he's a terrible writer, it's crying time on the next slide, which we'll get to right now, please. His other achievements. Now, you would think that an achievement would be something worth celebrating, but these are just all very sad achievements. This is the best he could do. He made a rocket to God and thanks her for his grandma. He never saw his grandma's vagina. As you know, he only saw the one, and it was his mom's. 8-year-old Dylan goes on the Gong Show, hosted by a math. He goes on the Gong Show, where he does I made very confusing slides for these very easy to explain concepts. He went on the Gong Show. He did a math thing. The judges loved it so much that they gave him his own math-themed talent show. Again, sorry for the poorly written. I must have been high off of my mind when I wrote these. High noon, Dylan can only drink green teas. So shed a tear for Dylan's inability to drink other things. In 2023, next year, Dylan will get his driver's license at the young age of 27-ish. He loves TV. He's a TV fan. It's his number one achievement. So pretty sad. Pretty sad when your best achievement is liking television. He has a green thumb. Not that he can grow plants. This is a different kind of green thumb where he got chloroform poisoning on his left hand. So all of his fingers and his thumb are green on his left hand, which is extra sad because he's left-handed. And now he has to use his right hand to do things, and it gets messy. Next slide, please. Presidential haiku. Did you know that in 2001, Dylan Terry won the Presidential Haiku Grant? Have you heard of it before? He wrote a haiku called "Only Time Will Tell Who is a Butterfly." And I don't remember if I put it on the next slide or not. If I didn't, we'll get back to it at the end. But if I did, I'll read it on the next slide, which we'll get to now, please. A picture is worth 1,000 words. This is Dylan's writing outfit. Every time he writes, whether it's one of his many, many terrible books or one of his presidential award-winning haikus, he wears this potato sack and bandana with cargo shorts, just like Casey from the SCENE Snobs. And if you put the camera underneath there, you can see right up those cargo shorts, just like Casey from the SCENE Snobs. Now, again, I was high when I wrote these, so I don't have the haiku written. So I, of course, have it memorized. If we could go back to the last slide, please, so I can remember what the haiku was supposed to be about. Only time will tell who is a butterfly, I say. And now I will die. And that is the haiku. And it was award-winning because it was the only one that was submitted that year. 2 slides forward, please. Now, what came first? The Dylan or the egg? This is a trick question. Because Dylan was not born from an egg. Dylan's father came first. Before his mother, who was the only vagina that Dylan has ever seen. Also, the only vagina that Dylan's father has ever seen. Yeah. And he only saw it once, and it produced a Dylan. Next slide, please. Now, in conclusion, I want you to all remember that on top of being a prolific writer, Dylan is also very, very skilled at origami. He can make an X-wing, and actually he folded those bangs. You can't tell, but there's a lot of hair folded up underneath those bangs, and he's real proud of it. So Dylan is a man of many talents, none of which he uses for any sort of good reason. Everything that he's good at, he doesn't do. And a lot of things that he's bad at, he does all the time. And that's my presentation. So that's Dylan. That's Dylan Terry.
We did. Wait, can we get through the next slides real fast?
Yeah, let's go. Let's go.
I just, oh my god.
We need a break.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah. Michael broke.
All right,
the
up next is
hosts.
Dylan Terry. We're not doing questions or anything this time
Nah.
because we're getting time crunch. So let's bring up Dylan Terry's slide. Pretty please.
Yes. The producers are currently having trouble breathing.
They're having a straight up fit.
There it is. So, my name is Dylan Terry. You've heard this. This is Zack Wiseman. Christ, we're gonna have to talk about this guy. You remember that movie with Ezra Miller? It's gonna be exactly like that. Let's get to the next slide, please.
The Flash?
Yeah.
Oh.
I guess I'll do the next slide. Cool.
Okay.
Now, here's what we know about Zack. No, this dude loves movies. Like, holy cow, shut the hell up about it, man. Except, no, keep talking about it because you're the only one who provides any volume. The beard underneath is hiding a vestigial twin. You'll see it right there. It's kind of obscured by the hot dog fingers. It's got Quato from Total Recall, except Quato was kind of diagonal. You know, like Quato in Total Recall. The good one, not the 1999 one, not the remake they did in 2012 with, I think, Colin Farrell and like Jessica Biel and all of them. They keep remaking good movies, but they don't make bad movies, remake them into good movies. I don't know why they don't do that, because if they're bad movies, they're not going to make any money, even if they're remade. His name is close to the slang term for scrotum. It's a legitimate accident when I put these slides together, but it was funny, so I left it in. And he has a secret crush on Michael Colby, but everybody knows, so he can just admit it. We're going to go to the next slide, because despite the fact that we're pressed for time, I have the wordiest presentation on the show. Not this slide. Go back one. Nope. Okay, I'll handle it from here on. Thank you. Now we're going to take a look at Zach's comedy. And I put these into charts because he primarily makes jokes about 3 topics: Mars, pop culture references, and self-deprecation. Mars, 50% of his jokes are about Mars, despite the fact that the graph I put only has it listed as 20. We're not going to worry about it. Why is he always talking about Mars? Elon's not talking about Mars. I'm not going to read these word for word because that's not what you do on a PowerPoint presentation, Michael. Does it have something to do with Total Recall, his obsession with Mars? No, probably not. References: movies, TV, comic books. I can't stress enough how much this guy loves pop culture. Look at his hat. Look at his suit. Look at that stuff on the wall behind him. And then self-deprecation. Sometimes I worry about him. The jokes take on a pretty venomous tint sometimes. And I'm like, hey, man, you should probably take it easy on yourself. And he's like, no, I can't. It's a compulsion. Let's go to the next slide, please. All right, we're going to take a break, and we're going to talk about some things I'd rather talk about, like my novel. I worked really hard on it. I wrote the original first 50 pages for my thesis in undergrad for my senior thesis class, which was 2.5 times what we were required to turn in. But, you know, I went through a very hard time for a while, didn't put any words down. And then in the span of about 4 months, I wrote an additional 100,000 words, and we got the entire novel done in about 6 months after I left a relationship. But if you are interested in my novel, if you think you would pay money to buy it if I self-published it on Amazon, leave a comment or find me at Vorpal_words on any platform, and I'll put it up there for you, and you can send me money, because I got to do something with it, and I haven't done anything with it. It's called 8 Days to Absolution. It's like a fantasy western. It's very inspired by like Mad Max Fury Road. Yeah, it's okay. It's not bad. It's very clearly a debut novel. Otherwise, my podcast, Silicon Angels, Zach's hardly in that one. It is the best one we've produced, not necessarily for that reason. It just came together really nicely. It was lightning in a bottle. And we've got Choose Your Own Podventure Season 2. We got a real voice actor for that one. I'm not going to reveal who it is because we're not sure that we're going to lock it in yet. There's been some attitude problems, and not really sure if he's up for it. But we'll figure that out later. Now bear with me. We will get back to the presentation in just a second. I need a moment to collect my thoughts so I can muster the willpower to keep talking about Zach, because out of everybody I know, he's the one who occupies the forefront of my mental capacity. And not in a bad way, just saying. All right, I'm going to go to the next slide now. Great, here he is again, except this isn't a picture of him. I put this together because, I mean, I know the whole point of this presentation is getting to know the hosts, but look at him. Look at this guy. I have to look at this face like 8 times a week, except I don't have to look at this face, because this is the picture of someone that Zach knows isn't actually a picture of him. And if I wasn't the person who put this presentation together, it absolutely would have tricked me and made me look like a fool. Let's go to the next slide.
Yeah.
Now, here's why Zack Wiseman is internet famous. There are many reasons, but I looked at the primary ones, kind of clumped them together into 2 big ones. 70% of that is Dylan, me. You heard about me earlier. Most of that was factual. A lot of it was conjecture. And a lot of it was the self-mythologization.
You're supposed to be the smart one.
Am I?
Yeah. You wrote novels.
I've been carrying the weight, keeping this guy's ego fed for years, because if I don't do it, you know, who's he going to turn to? I write the words he says. He gets the credit. I'm fine with that because I don't like the spotlight. It's a really good relationship we've got going. Even his improv is written by me, which, I mean, all improv is written when you think about it, right? Yeah, that's what they say. And then 30% of that is Michael Colby. He plays the villain, so Zach looks sympathetic. You should hear Zach talk about him when the mics aren't on, or you should see our one-on-one chats about Michael sometimes. It gets, you know, pretty intense. There is a percentage that Zach is responsible, but I didn't include it because it's a little small and I didn't have time to include everything on here. So also, what his wife says. We're going to go to the next slide.
You son of a.
We covered my parentage on the last presentation. Let's keep it focused on you. Now, Zach was on TV once, and he uses that fact for literally everything. If he's losing a fight, he was on TV. Were you? I was. Michael might have been. I don't know. I don't watch true crime. You're trying to get a job? His resume just says, I was on TV once. I write resumes professionally as an independent contractor. You can contact me at Vorpal_words, and I'll write one for you if you want. I have reasonable rates and pretty good success at getting people interviews. But that's a good resume. I just was on TV once. Yeah, it works. Got him this job. Yeah.
Boom.
Doesn't tip the waiter? I'll sign this napkin. I was on TV. It's worth more than money. And that's true. He actually, waiter actually did sell a napkin Zack Wiseman signed for like $45, but the napkin also had a whole shitload of weed in it. So, who's to say what the reason was? And look how smug he is there. Now, this is another picture that doesn't actually look like Zack Wiseman, but I can assure you it is. He looks smug, even though you know what's weird. Quado is just sitting there. You thought I forgot about him. I did, but I didn't. Just behind that thin, wispy beard, almost as thin and wispy as mine. I think its name is Snackums. The beard? I think the beard's name is Snackums because Quato is the name of the vestigial twin. We're going to go to the final slide. In conclusion, Zach is like a thin Jack Black. You want to follow Zach even after all of that stuff? Follow him at Black Jack for Jack Black on Instagram, Twitter at My Neighbor Mitch1, or Facebook Dylan Terry. I'm not going to tell you which one, but I think you can probably figure it out. Credits. His presentation template was... I'm not going to advertise for them. Please keep the slide for comedic effect. I'm done. I'll applaud myself because I was talking about
I literally could have said it better myself.
Yeah, but you didn't.
But good
so
job,
here I am.
Good job. Now, normally we pick who the winner is, but in this episode, honestly, we're all winners because we're all friends of Michael Colby. I think he's the best one out of all of us.
I think the real winners are the audience.
Oh, fair. Yes. The real winners are the people that give money to the charity event that we're working for. Look in the links below and put some friggin' money in there. Because honestly, if we don't get halfway there, Mick Manhattan's not going to take his shirt off and show you his hairy back, which apparently Casey signed with a straight razor. So I think he shaved something back there. But who really knows?
It's either a QR code for 30% off your next purchase.
It took him a week to shave the QR code in there. It was so many squares. Now, normally we have a fourth person on that has a podcast or that has their own presentation, which takes up the rest of the half an hour. But I think that we have Mick Manhattan and Casey backstage. They're going to come up and chat with us.
Hi.
Okay, good. Oh.
Oh, no. And that QR code is actually good for 35% now because of inflation.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, excellent.
Guys, you guys killed it. This was amazing.
Been awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for putting this together. We really appreciate you guys. You guys really, really work hard for indie podcasters. And even though we make a lot of jokes about stupid stuff, that really means a lot to us. So thank you. And yeah, we really appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Absolutely, guys. Well, we appreciate you guys. You guys are fantastic. And it's always a hoot to have you around. So thank you.
Thank you so much, guys.
Appreciate
you.
Whenever. Adios.
Now get out of here.
I can tell you from my Guadalajara incident, a firm, flat thing in anus is not pleasurable for anyone involved. But I did become empty afterward. Thank you for watching PowerPoint Showdown. Today's winner will receive a $50,000 grant courtesy of Some Nobodies Patreon. Congratulations on your win! Join us next week for another showdown. Thanks for providing that big prize, guys.